You turn 62, and suddenly there it is, that magical number printed right in front of you. The Social Security Administration sends your estimated benefit letter, and your eyes go straight to that monthly amount. You think, well, that's not bad. And hey, I could use that money now. After all, you've worked hard your entire life, paid into the system for decades. And finally, it's your turn to receive something back. That check feels like a reward, maybe even a safety net. So the idea of claiming early is tempting, no doubt about it, and you're not alone. Nearly 1 in 3 Americans chooses to start Social Security right at age 62. The reasons make perfect sense. Maybe you've retired early. Maybe health issues nudged you out of the workforce. Or maybe you just want to enjoy your money while you can. No judgment here, but here's what most folks don't realize until it's too late. Taking Social Security early might actually cost you tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of your retirement. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you, but I do want to give you the full picture, because once you claim Social Security, some of those decisions can't be undone. And in today's world, where we're living longer, facing higher healthcare costs and dealing with inflation that eats away at fixed incomes, those early choices can have a big impact down the road. That's why in this video, we're going to walk through 4 important reasons why taking Social Security at 62 might not be the best move, and why waiting even just a few more years could dramatically improve your retirement income and long-term financial peace of mind. Will keep things simple, with real-life examples and no complicated math, just practical, friendly advice you can actually use. So if you or someone you love is nearing 62 and thinking about claiming early, this is your chance to take a breath and really weigh your options. You'll come away with clarity, not confusion, and hopefully a little more confidence in making one of the most important financial decisions of your retirement years. And hey, if this kind of content helps you, go ahead and click the like button, subscribe to Vibrant Elders, and leave a comment below. Maybe share how old you were when you first thought about claiming, or what questions you still have. Alright, let's dive in. The first thing we need to talk about is something most people don't realize until it's too late. When you take Social Security early, your benefits are reduced for life. Reason number 1, permanent reduction in lifetime benefit amount. Let's imagine your Social Security check like a pie, something you've earned, something that's yours, and something meant to last you a lifetime. Now, the earlier you take a slice, the smaller each piece becomes. That's what happens when you claim Social Security at 62. The government lets you take it early, yes, but in exchange, they reduce the amount you get each month.
And here's the part that surprises many people. That lower amount I sent you just temporary, it sticks with you for the rest of your life.
So how much are we talking? Well, if your full retirement age is 67 and you choose to take your benefits at 62, your monthly check is reduced by about 30%. That is not just one smaller check, that is 30% less every single month for potentially 20, 25, even 30 years or more. That's a lot of money left on the table. Let's take an example. Suppose your full retirement age benefit is $2,000 per month. If you claim at 62, that amount drops to around $1,400, $1,500. That's a reduction of roughly $500 each month. Multiply that by 12 months a year, and we're talking about a difference of $6,000 per year. Now stretch that over 20 years. That's $120,000 less in total benefits. And that's assuming you live just to 82, which is below average life expectancy for many today. This isn't about trying to beat the system. It's about making sure the system works in your favor, because Social Security isn't just a short-term bridge. For many retirees, it's a cornerstone of income for decades. A decision at 62 might feel like a relief today, but it could create a strain in your 70s or 80s when that money matters even more. The Social Security Administration calculates your benefit based on your highest 35 years of earnings, then adjusts that number depending on when you claim. The earlier you take it, the more they discount it. That reduction isn't paid back later, it's permanent. So if you're healthy, have other income sources, or can afford to wait a few more years, that wait could translate into thousands more dollars, year after year. And even if you think, well, I'll just take it now and invest the money, be careful. You'd have to earn quite a bit consistently to match the guaranteed increase you'd get by simply waiting. Social Security is one of the few guaranteed sources of income in retirement, and it grows over time if you delay, so before you jump to file at 62, take a deep breath. Look at the big picture, because the decisions you make now can echo through every year to come. Ready to look at what happens when you actually wait. Let's talk about the flip side, how your benefits grow with time. That's coming next. Reason number 2, you lose out on delayed retirement credits. Let's flip the script now. Instead of grabbing that first check at 62, what happens if you wait a little longer, say until 67 or even 70? The answer is something many folks don't fully understand, but it's powerful. Your benefits don't just sit still, they actually grow. And not by a little, by quite a bit. This growth is thanks to something called delayed retirement credits. Once you reach your full retirement age, usually around 66 or 67, depending on your birth year, every year you wait to take Social Security, your benefit goes up by about 8% per year. That's right. For each year you delay past full retirement age, you're essentially giving yourself a raise. Let's break that down with an example. Say your benefit at full retirement age is $2,000 a month. If you wait until 70 to start collecting, that benefit grows to about $2,640 a month. That's a $640 monthly difference just by waiting 3 extra years, and that larger check keeps coming for life. Now, some people say, but I'm missing out on money if I wait. And it's true, you won't be getting those early checks. But here's what you gain: a significantly larger base benefit that continues for as long as you live. And if you live a long life, and many of us are living well into our 80s and 90s, that larger check more than makes up for the few years you didn't collect. Let's do a little math. If you start at 62 and live to 85, your total benefits might add up to around $387,000. But if you wait until 70, you might collect closer to $475,000 over that same lifespan. That's almost $90,000 more. That's not theoretical, that's real money for groceries, bills, medical care, or just enjoying life. Another point to consider: where else can you get a guaranteed 8% return, risk-free? Most investments come with ups and downs, delayed retirement credits. They're backed by law. It's like giving yourself a government-guaranteed raise every year you wait. So if you're in decent health, have a little income or savings to rely on in your 60s, and want to maximize long-term security, delaying Social Security is one of the smartest, simplest ways to do it, and that's just your benefit. There's another side to this: how your decision affects your loved ones, especially a spouse or partner. Let's explore that next. Reason number 3. Impact on spousal survivor benefits. Now let's talk about something that too many people overlook when deciding when to claim Social Security: how your choice affects your spouse or partner. Not just yourself, because when you take benefits early, the reduced amount doesn't just stay with you, it ripples out and impacts what your loved one may be able to receive down the line. Here's how it works. Social Security offers spousal and survivor benefits, which are based on the amount your spouse is eligible to collect. If you're married, your spouse can claim up to 50% of your full retirement benefit while you're both living, and if you pass away, they may qualify to receive up to 100% of your benefit as a survivor benefit, but only if you waited to claim the full or delayed amount. Let's say you took Social Security at 62, and your monthly check is $1,500. That's a nice amount, but if you had waited until your full retirement age, maybe that check would have been $2,000. Now imagine your spouse survives you. Instead of getting $2,000 a month, they're only getting $1,500 because you claimed early. That reduction doesn't just affect you, it affects their entire financial future. 2. This is especially important if your spouse is younger, didn't work as many years, or will outlive you by quite a bit, which is common. According to Social Security data, women tend to live longer than men, and many rely on spousal or survivor benefits for stability. So by waiting to claim your own benefit, you're not just helping yourself, you're protecting your partner's future. Here's a real-world story. Harold and Janet were both nearing retirement. Harold was the higher earner and planned to claim at 62 because, in his words, I want to enjoy my money while I can. But a financial counselor asked him, one question. If you're gone in 10 years, do you want Janet living on a reduced check for the next 20? That changed everything. Harold waited until 67, and now, if something happens to him, Janet will receive a full benefit, not a reduced one. It's not just about what you need right now, it's about what your family might need later, choosing. To delay can be an act of love, an investment in their future as much as yours, now. That brings us to our final reason, and this one ties everything together. Let's look at how waiting gives you more resilience against rising costs and longer lives. Reason number 4, inflation and longevity protecting against outliving your money. Let's get real about something most of us worry about: outliving our money. Medical advances are helping people live longer than ever. That's a beautiful thing, but it also means our retirement dollars have to stretch further, and Social Security, while not perfect, is one of the few sources of income that actually grows with you over time, thanks to cost of living adjustments or COLAs. But here's the key. Those annual increases are based on the amount you're already getting, so if you lock in a lower benefit at 62, every future COLA, no matter how generous, is based on that smaller number. If you wait until 67 or 70, not only do you get a bigger check to start with, but every yearly increase will be a bigger dollar amount too. Let's say you start with $1,500 a month at age 62. After 10 years, assuming an average 2% COLA, your check might go up to around $1,830. But if you had waited and started at $2,000 a month, that same 2% adjustment would push your benefit to about $2,440 in that same time frame. That's a difference of over $600 every single month just from waiting and letting that base grow. And that's just the beginning. As you move into your 70s and 80s, the real impact of these higher payments becomes more noticeable. Think about what healthcare, housing, groceries, and utilities might cost 15 or 20 years from now. That extra money could be the difference between feeling squeezed and feeling secure. There's also the emotional comfort that comes from knowing you've prepared well. You don't have to constantly worry about every expense. You don't feel stuck or scared every time prices jump. That's what a higher Social Security base can offer: peace of mind that your monthly check can keep up with the times. And let's not forget longevity. According to the Social Security Administration, a man reaching 65 today can expect to live, on average, until 84. For women, it's about 87. And 1 out of every 3 65-year-olds today will live past age 90. That's potentially 30 years in retirement. So ask yourself, would you rather have a larger check for those 3 decades or a smaller one you rushed into? Delaying Social Security isn't just about dollars. It's about building a buffer against inflation, uncertainty, and the long, beautiful life you still have ahead. And now that we've looked at all 4 reasons, let's bring everything together. In one final thought, let's take a breath for a moment. You've heard a lot about numbers, timelines, and decisions that affect not just your monthly check, but your entire retirement journey. So let's gently bring it all together. When you first see that option to claim Social Security at 62, it feels exciting. That money is finally yours. After a lifetime of hard work, it feels like a relief, a reward. But now you know there's more beneath the surface: important reasons to pause and think twice before jumping in. We talked about how claiming early locks in a permanent reduction. That smaller check isn't just for a few years, it's for life. We explored how waiting opens the door to delayed retirement credits, those 8% annual increases that can supercharge your benefit. We saw how your decision also impacts your spouse, especially if they outlive you, and how waiting can be a gift to them down the road. And finally, we touched on how a higher starting benefit means stronger protection against rising prices and a longer lifespan. What do all these reasons have in common? They're not about fear, they're about freedom. The freedom to live more comfortably, to support your loved ones, to stretch your money without stretching your nerves. Delaying Social Security isn't always easy, but for many, it's the smarter move if you can afford to wait. And remember, this isn't an all-or-nothing decision. You don't have to go all the way to age 70 to see the benefits. Even waiting 1 extra year can make a noticeable difference. So if you're sitting at 62, 63, Or 64 and still haven't filed. That's okay. You still have time to pivot now. I'd love to hear from you. Have you thought about claiming at 62? What helped you decide, or what's holding you back? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your story could help someone else wrestling with the same choice. And if this video helped you see things more clearly, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to Vibrant Elders, and sharing this with a friend or sibling who's nearing retirement age. We're building a community here of smart, thoughtful folks who want to make the most of this chapter in life. Retirement is more than just the end of work, it's the beginning of your time. And making smart choices now, even the tough ones, can open the door to a retirement that feels abundant, secure, and full of possibility. You've earned that peace of mind. Now, let's go get it, one wise step at a time.